So now we'll be asking, is your skin trendy? So fashion has sometimes been described as the adornment of the body, with the implication that we were talking about the human body. But as video games become more of a virtual social space, we see the growing popularity of avatar personalization and the commercial exchange of like skin assets. So the current context allows for disembodied experiences and avatar identities. So we are starting to see video games and fashion crossing paths with presentations like the Balenciaga video game walkthrough, and the fashion industry is starting to tap into gaming as a market with brand collaborations like Moschino and The Sims, LV and Lightning, or more recently, their collaboration with League of Legends. And over to you, Scarlett. Scarlett will be asking a couple of questions to our panelists. I can ask the questions too.
Hear me?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, oops. Sorry, just so. Oops. Sorry, guys. I'm just trying to figure out. So yeah, I have a few questions for this topic for the panelists. So I guess this is not sorry about this. Just trying to figure out. Okay, again, I would like to ask Aubrey. I don't know where you are. Is Aubrey here?
Can you hear me? Hey.
Hey, so yeah, well, we actually both studied in St. Martin's for fashion, although we're not in the same pathway, but we graduated both from class of 2020. I'm quite interested in so after you've studied 4 years in fashion design, you've chosen to go into more like, say, designing for avatar fashion game skins, assets. So how did this kind of a shift happen? What's your decision behind
Well,
it?
I was originally brought to fashion through the sort of world building practice of brand building and kind of being able to create all those feelings from wearing a garment and from being immersed into a brand and feeling like you're part of an experience. So it was sort of an easy transition for me. But it originally started because at our school, a lot of the projects, the final projects could just be images of garments. And so I really wanted to do these massive garments, but I didn't have the space or the money to do it. So I started investing in my 3D skills to bring them to life instead. Um, and I love the 3D space because you define your own physics. You can base anything you want. And as Carrie mentioned earlier, a lot of these brands have such a hesitation to hire people, within their own company to do these digitizing tasks for them. So that's why I've kind of provided that service as a freelancer on my own. But within video games, it goes back to the whole team element. They're already doing this as a team, and so that's why I've kind of drifted over to that way. But I love the whole concept of customization. You put on a new garment, you buy something new, you feel a different way about yourself. You can believe that you'll be able to do different things or act in a different way or feel a different way. And it's a very tactile change very quickly. And it's the same in video games where you can maybe get a new skin and it has these properties that also allow you to do this, or it has some really cool animations when you do certain moves and stuff like that. So I just think the limits are really boundless. And you can really capture those feelings. A lot of time when I tell people that I'm doing virtual fashion instead, they're kind of bummed out because they don't understand. They say, oh, how can you feel something? How can you get something emotionally from that sort of experience? But I kind of liken it to watching a movie and crying, like, or, in my case, directly, like playing a video game and it has such a moving storyline. You're really invested in these characters. And it's just something that it is an experience, and it can be really beneficial in a maturing process and growing as a person. So that's why I've kind of go over to that area.
Yeah, that's super interesting. I mean, yeah, I kind of had the similar thoughts also. Yeah, I guess for us who, as graduates or current students who are trained in this in the academic fashion education, I guess it's really refreshing, right? And it does entails a lot of possibilities in this designing these avatars. And
Definitely. And also, sorry, I was going to
yeah,
say with collaboration as well, being able to just send something over and have somebody add to it, have somebody change it, even just building something that is already existing physically in the virtual world. So many new ideas come up instantly. So I think it's such a great tool that, back to the whole education thing, really should be implemented just to get ideas and just to start exploring the bounds.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's so much to explore, and definitely collaboration's key, I guess, right? And I have a question for Damara. Hello, Damara.
Scarlett.
So I was looking at your social media, Instagram, that you proclaimed yourself as a fashion tech cyborg. That's like super interesting to me because of instantly reminds me of Donna Haraway somehow. And a question for you is: do you feel like the idea of this avatar, or like the link to cyborg theory, is becoming more and more accepted to talk about as a topic in fashion and like mainstream trend industry?
Yes, definitely. It's 100% based on Donna and her theory and the cyborg manifesto, and how we are this hybrid of machine and organism, and we are self-present in our interaction and expression in technology. I consider myself a fashion tech cyborg because I had the opportunity to participate on this workshop, which was painting in VR, actually at the Digital Learning Lab. And from the moment I was painting in VR in Google Tilt Brush, and the presence of my body was not there physically, like you are not able to see your body or your feet. The only thing you see is the two controllers, and one is kind of like a paintbrush and the other one is a pointer. And in that point, I realized that, wow, I am not the machine, I am inside the machine. And it also made me think of all the different ways in which I already am inside the machine, just interacting in social media every day, being co-present with other bio avatars or hybrid organisms that exist in these realities, really allowed to explore beyond the idea of what it means to be human and what it means to be alive. Fashion cyborgs address and dress the embodied self that is also expressed to digital. And they are to understand that the post-human body exists beyond its biological format, and it's compressed and converted into different ways, like JPEG files uploaded as MP4, downloaded as OBJ avatars or FBX moving figures. The contemporary body exists in so many different ways that I don't think that the fashion cyborg theme is only something that is becoming more acceptable to talk about. It really is the dawn of a new way and a new era of expression and understanding. Um, I also would like to connect this idea to the notion that within social media spaces, we are all immersed characters. We are all sort of like avatars of ourselves. And these avatars have social lives of their own that exist um, beyond our own social lives. And how can these avatars then be expressed and dressed? And when I say that we exist or we experience this avatar life within social media environments, um, the notion of being an avatar is not just being immersed in a gaming environment. It's about being immersed in a digitized reality that you contribute to and engage with every day. So in the same way that the habit makes the monk, I think that interacting with technology every day also makes our phenomenal body and our cyborg self more relevant and more pertinent. And as we engage more and more with social media technologies, gaming environments, for example, this amazing frame space we are in, the more we sort of become characters of this massive immersive game that we create with digital tools.
That's super interesting. I really like the idea of this, what you're saying about the hybrid organism. So
Yes.
I guess, yeah.
Yes, definitely. I love this idea that the hybrid body is a mix between the physical body and this sort of digital parasite that exists, right? So the physical body is designed by nature, considered beautiful according to culture, is altered, it releases fluids and emotions, sometimes it reproduces, and it always dies. But the virtual body is born, and above it all, similarly to all digital data, the virtual body is theoretically immortal. So as hybrids, we are somewhere between running against the short timeline that we have in this space as biological existing entities and the entire eternity of data that we will then leave behind, like a huge antique Egyptian pyramid that is not made of bricks, but is made of people, moments, shares, posts, and emotions.
Yeah, super interesting. Yeah, I would also like to bring Costa into this in terms of the physical and virtual as well. Because I know like you're working in the fashion innovation agency, and I understand it as like both physical and virtual fashion design. What do you see in this? What do you see this like duality or say division or a combination of the physical fashion and the virtual design medium? Does it have any relevance or yeah?
I believe that by starting with a division between the fields of the physical fashion and virtual design, it provides us with limitations that I think that shouldn't be there. So I don't absolutely believe in a division between the two, but on in a coexisting, in a kind of coexisting relationship, in an interactive relationship which bridges the physical and the digital together. So through my work, I'm always trying to envision a blended model which merges the digital and the physical in more interactive, immersive, and inspiring ways, but also more seamless ways. And on that, it's a fact that younger generation and younger generations and next generations won't be able to understand that we had the screen as a dimension to interact with the physical world. And this is because the devices are going to be changed. And basically, what's going to happen is that the physical and the digital will be more seamlessly merged together. And in that context, how can we disseminate media? How can we think of ways through which we can disseminate media within an environment like that? I believe that even after the COVID crisis, brands need to understand the relevance that digital emerging media can bring to the fashion realm and how they can use them in inspiring ways. The interaction between the physical and the digital can help us to articulate basically the tangibility and physicality of a garment, but within not a physical environment, within immersive and virtual environments, which create ecologies basically that connect us more than they alienate us. And on that context, for example, we can think that the virtual fashion show is an event that can be accessible by a great number of end users, and this makes the event much more accessible, but also it allows the end user to basically navigate the space and interact with it in ways that won't be possible in the physical world. Other examples of that would augmenting physical garments with layers of abstraction that are not possible in the physical worlds. And that raises questions, which makes us basically question what is the garment itself, what is a fashion product itself, and how it can be edited to accommodate both our physical and digital selves. Because we are more or less, all of us are more or less digital natives, and this makes us acquire immaterial space around us. And how do we communicate and how do we form and formulate our identity within that immaterial space? And for that reason, I believe that we need to think of the blending of the physical and the digital in more seamless ways and aim to elevate that in the future as well and bridge the two.
Yeah, definitely. Just super. This future's looking really promising, I see. And yeah, I would like to hand it over to Kristina for the next scene, please.